Hello everyone. Before we dive into today's story, please don't forget to hit that subscribe button and give this post a like if you find it helpful. Your support really means the world to me.
You're nothing special. Remember that. My name is Ryan. I'm 28 years old. I work construction for Phoenix Electric Solutions here in Arizona. I'd been with Amanda for 3 years when she said those words to me. That evening, we were sitting in our living room while she responded to messages from her ex-boyfriend, Derek. Those words struck me like a hammer blow to the gut. I had asked her why Derek kept contacting her about unresolved matters. A straightforward question. Her answer wasn't just harsh. It was deliberate. She didn't even glance up from her screen when she spoke. "You're absolutely right," I replied, maintaining a calm tone. I should keep that in mind. Something changed within me at that instant. Not rage precisely, but more like understanding. Amanda had always belittled me, but this seemed different. This seemed like a signal I should have recognized months earlier. She chuckled, still texting. "Excellent. Now quit being suspicious about Derek. He's simply a friend." I observed her fingers dancing across the display, answering messages I wasn't allowed to see. The living room suddenly seemed cramped. 3 years of treading carefully. 3 years of her fixing how I dressed, how I spoke to her friends, how I ate at restaurants. 3 years of hearing I was fortunate she tolerated me. "I'm going for a ride," I announced. "Fine. Get some bread on your way home." I took my keys and left. Sitting in my pickup, I spent considerable time thinking about Sarah, Amanda's cousin. During family events, Sarah would meet my gaze when Amanda delivered one of her sharp comments. She'd give a slight head shake as if apologizing for something beyond her control. Once at Amanda's birthday celebration, Sarah had approached me privately. "You don't deserve how she speaks to you," she'd whispered. "Someone needs to say that." I had dismissed it then, thinking it was family politics. But sitting in that truck, I understood Sarah had been the only person in Amanda's world who ever made me feel valued. My phone vibrated. A message from Amanda. "And get the whole grain bread, not the regular kind." I stared at that text for a solid minute. Then I erased it without replying and drove to the supply store instead. Not because I needed supplies, just because I wanted to. When I returned 2 hours later, Amanda was sleeping. I stood in the entrance watching her, and for the first time in months, I felt nothing. No love, no anger, no shame about Derek's messages. Just hollow space where 3 years of trying to measure up used to exist. I went to the kitchen and wrote Sarah's number on paper. I'd obtained it from Amanda's phone months back, when I still cared about being part of family events. Tomorrow, I decided I would call her. Amanda and I first met at a restaurant in Scottsdale when I was 25. She was completing her business degree, confident and cutting in ways that attracted me initially. I was 2 years into working for Phoenix Electric Solutions, finally earning good wages after struggling in my early 20s. She pursued me intensely those first weeks, appeared at work sites with coffee, messaged constantly, made me feel like I had won something precious. Looking back, I understand it differently now. She was acquiring me, not loving me. The modifications began gradually. She disliked my work friends. Too crude, she claimed. She selected new clothing for me, said my old stuff embarrassed her in public. When I got promoted to team leader, she rolled her eyes and said, "Don't get cocky. It's still just physical work." Her family events were the hardest. Amanda's parents, Michael and Linda, owned 2 appliance stores across Phoenix. They'd inquire about my job, and when I mentioned electrical work, they'd nod briefly before switching topics. Amanda never supported me. She'd laugh when her father joked about blue-collar intelligence or when her mother questioned aloud if I'd ever pursue something more respectable. But Sarah was different. She was 26, taught first grade at a school in Mesa, and she'd genuinely ask about my work, actual questions, like she was interested in my answers. When I described how we were updating the old library downtown, she paid attention. When Amanda's father made another joke about electricians, Sarah would change the subject. "Ryan fixed my kitchen outlet last month," she told everyone at Thanksgiving dinner. "Saved me $250 and did it better than any repair service would have." Amanda glared at her. "He enjoys playing with tools. He enjoys helping others," Sarah corrected quietly. I caught her eye across the table. She smiled, and something pleasant spread through my chest that had nothing to do with appreciation. The warning signs with Amanda increased over the months. She began going out with friends without including me. When I questioned it, she'd say, "You wouldn't belong." She criticized everything. How I arranged the dishwasher, how I drove, how I said certain words. When Derek started contacting her 6 months ago, she became defensive immediately. He's going through a separation, she explained. I'm just being helpful. But her phone stayed face down now. She took calls in private, and she'd begun saying things like, Derek values my input. He actually pays attention. The message was obvious. Unlike me. The night she called me nothing special, I finally realized. She'd been conditioning me for this moment for months. The following morning, Amanda left early for work without saying goodbye. I called in sick to Phoenix Electric Solutions, first time in 2 years, and sat at the kitchen table staring at Sarah's number. What was I thinking? Calling my girlfriend's cousin because my feelings were hurt. It sounded pathetic even to me. But Sarah had said I didn't deserve how Amanda treated me. Maybe she was just being polite, but nobody else had ever said it. Not once in 3 years had anyone suggested I was worth more than what Amanda provided. I dialed before I could stop myself. Ryan, Sarah sounded surprised. Is everything all right? I need to ask you something, I said. And I need you to be truthful. Silence for a moment. Then, okay. Do you think Amanda loves me? The pause stretched so long I thought she'd disconnected. Finally, Sarah said, can we meet somewhere? This isn't a phone discussion. We met at a cafe in Gilbert, halfway between our workplaces. Sarah arrived wearing a green dress and looking anxious. She sat across from me and placed her hands on the table. She told me what she said to you, Sarah began, about being nothing special. My heart sank. She told you. She was laughing about it, said you just accepted it, and didn't even argue back. Sarah's voice was soft. Ryan, that's not healthy. People who love each other don't say things like that. I felt something break open in my chest. I've been wondering if I'm losing my mind, if I'm too emotional. You're not losing your mind. Sarah reached across the table and touched my hand. Amanda has always been mean. Even as children, she'd say terrible things and then act like you were wrong for being upset. Why didn't anyone ever speak up? Because she's skilled at making people feel like they deserve it. Sarah's eyes were bright with anger I'd never seen before. But you don't deserve it, Ryan. You're gentle and hardworking, and you help people without being asked. You remember what tea I prefer. You listen when I talk about my students. Amanda doesn't notice any of that. I stared at our hands. Sarah's was gentle and warm, nothing like Amanda's cold distance. I've been considering leaving, I said. You should, Sarah said immediately. You should have left long ago. Something shifted in the atmosphere between us. Sarah pulled her hand back, blushing. I'm sorry, she said. I shouldn't have. Don't apologize. I looked at her face, really looked, and saw something I'd been too faithful to Amanda to notice before. Can I ask you something else? She nodded. Would you like to have dinner with me? Not as family, just us. Sarah smiled, and for the first time in months, I felt like I could breathe properly. That evening, I entered our apartment with different energy. Amanda was on the sofa, phone pressed to her ear, laughing at something Derek had said. I have to go, she said when she saw me. Ryan's home. She hung up and looked at me expectantly. Where's the bread? I forgot it. Her expression darkened. I specifically asked you. We need to talk, I interrupted. Amanda blinked, clearly enthused to being interrupted. About what? About Derek, about how you treat me, about us. She set her phone down carefully. Oh, this should be interesting. Let me guess. You've been thinking all day about our discussion last night, and now you want to have some big relationship conversation. I want you to stop talking to Derek, I said. Amanda laughed. Actually laughed. Excuse me. I'm not comfortable with it. The constant messaging, the phone calls, it's not appropriate for someone who's in a relationship. Derek is my friend. I'm not going to end a friendship because you're insecure. It's not about insecurity. It's exactly about insecurity. Amanda stood up, crossing her arms. This is what I mean, Ryan. You're so threatened by everything. Derek has a successful law firm. He drives a Mercedes. He owns a house in Scottsdale. Of course, that makes you uncomfortable. The words hit exactly where she intended, but instead of the usual shame spiral, I felt something else. Clarity. You're right, I said. I am uncomfortable, but not because of Derek's wealth. Then what? Because my girlfriend is emotionally cheating on me and acting like I'm crazy for noticing. Amanda's face went cold. Emotionally cheating, Ryan. That's absurd. Is it? When's the last time you laughed at something I said? When's the last time you took a call from me in front of other people? When's the last time you defended me to anyone? I shouldn't have to defend you. Yes, you should. The words came out louder than I intended. That's what people do when they love someone. They defend them. They support them. They don't tell them they're nothing special. Amanda stared at me for a long moment. Then she smiled, and it was the coldest expression I'd ever seen on her face. You want to know the truth, Ryan? Derek asked me to move in with him. He's getting a divorce, and he wants me there when it's finalized. I told him I was in a relationship, but honestly, I'm starting to think I made an error. The words should have destroyed me. 6 months ago, they would have. Instead, I felt relieved. So you are cheating. I'm keeping my options open, she said, which is exactly what someone should do when they're with a person who'll never be anything more than an electrician. There's nothing wrong with being an electrician. There's nothing wrong with it if you're satisfied with mediocrity, but I'm not. Amanda picked up her phone again. Derek appreciates ambition. He appreciates intelligence. He appreciates someone who wants more from life than fixing other people's problems for hourly pay. I stood there absorbing the cruelty of it. 3 years of small wounds had led to this moment. Amanda revealing exactly what she thought of me. I'm going to stay at my brother's tonight, I said. Good. I'll call Derek. At the door, I turned back. By the way, Amanda, I had coffee with Sarah today. Something flickered across her face. Why? She thinks I deserve better than this. Sarah doesn't understand anything about relationships. She's been single for 2 years. Maybe she's just been waiting for the right person. I left before she could respond. In my truck, I called Sarah. How did it go? She asked. Exactly like you said it would. I started the engine. She chose Derek. I'm sorry, Ryan. Don't be. I think this is the best thing that could have happened. My brother Kevin lived in a duplex in Glendale. He took one look at my face and grabbed 2 beers from his refrigerator. Amanda, he asked. I told him everything. Kevin had never liked Amanda, but he'd kept quiet because he thought I was happy. As I talked, his expression grew darker. She's been planning this for months, he said when I finished. The comments about Derek, the criticism, making you feel like garbage. She was setting you up to accept being dumped. Why not just break up with me? Because she wanted a safety net. If things with Derek didn't work out, she could keep you around. Kevin took a long drink. Ryan, you know I've never said anything about your relationships, but this woman is toxic. The next morning, Sarah texted me. How are you doing? Instead of answering, I called her. Can I see you today? I need to tell you something. We met at the same cafe. This time, Sarah looked concerned. Amanda called me last night, she said before I could speak. She told me you're going through some kind of emotional crisis. She said you accused her of cheating and stormed out. Is that what she said? She wants me to talk sense into you, to remind you how good you have it with her. Sarah's voice was careful. She also said you were inappropriate with me yesterday, that you made her uncomfortable by calling me behind her back. I felt the trap closing. Amanda was turning her family against me before I could tell my side. Sarah, I need to ask you something, and I need you to trust me enough to answer honestly. She nodded. Has Amanda always been like this? Even when we were kids? Sarah was quiet for a long moment. Then, when Amanda was 16, she dated this boy named Mark. Sweet kid, played baseball, worked at his uncle's garage. Amanda spent months making fun of his clothes, his car, his family. Then one day, she showed up at a family barbecue with Brad Wilson. You know, the Wilson kid whose family owns that big construction company. What happened to Mark? She dumped him by email. The next week, Mark's friends told everyone Amanda had been cheating with Brad for months. She never denied it. Sarah looked at her hands. My Aunt Linda was so proud. She kept talking about how Amanda had upgraded. The pieces clicked into place. This is her pattern. She finds someone decent and loyal, keeps them around while she looks for something better, then discards them in the cruelest way possible. Sarah's voice was bitter. The whole family enables it because Amanda always ends up with someone richer or more successful. Except this time Derek's married. Amanda doesn't care. She thinks the divorce means she won. Sarah looked up at me. Ryan, I've watched her do this to 3 different guys. Each time she got a little crueler. Why didn't you warn me? I tried. Remember last Christmas when I said you seemed stressed? I was hoping you'd open up, but you just said you were working extra hours. Sarah reached across the table again. I've been wanting to say something for 2 years. But what was I supposed to do? Tell my cousin's boyfriend that she's a horrible person? You could have told me I deserved better. I did tell you that at Amanda's birthday party. You did, I admitted. I just wasn't ready to hear it. Sarah smiled sadly. Are you ready now? I'm ready for a lot of things now. Over the next week, Amanda and I barely spoke. She stayed late at work most nights, and when she came home, she'd go straight to the bedroom to take calls from Derek. I slept on the couch and counted the days until I could move out. But Sarah and I talked every day. Coffee meetings turned into lunch meetings. She told me about her students, her dreams of maybe becoming a vice principal someday. I told her about the renovation project I was working on at the old Phoenix Community Center. How satisfying it was to bring something useful back to life. Amanda never asked about your work, Sarah observed one afternoon. She said it was boring. It's not boring. You light up when you talk about it. Sarah smiled. You should see your face when you explain how you figured out the original electrical system. Something was growing between us. Something I'd never had with Amanda. Respect, genuine interest, laughter that wasn't at someone else's expense. Sarah, I said carefully, I need to tell you something. Okay, I'm falling for you. I know the timing is terrible, and I know it's complicated because of Amanda, but I need you to know. Sarah was quiet for so long, I thought I'd ruined everything. Then she said, I've had feelings for you since the first family dinner you came to. Amanda introduced you as her boyfriend, and I remember thinking she didn't deserve you. Why didn't you say anything? Because you were with my cousin. Because I thought you loved her. Because I convinced myself I was just lonely. Sarah looked at me directly. But I wasn't lonely. I was just waiting for someone like you. What do we do about Amanda? We tell the truth. She's going to be furious. But she made her choice when she chose Derek. She'll make it seem like we had an affair. Let her. Anyone who knows us will see through it. And anyone who doesn't know us well enough to see through it doesn't matter. Amanda's family gathering was scheduled for the following weekend at Michael and Linda's house in Paradise Valley. Every year, the extended family gathered to celebrate Linda's birthday and catch up on news. Amanda had been looking forward to showing off her engagement ring and talking about wedding plans. She'll expect you to come with her, Sarah said. Actually, I have a better idea. Friday night, I packed my things while Amanda was at Derek's. I left the engagement ring on the kitchen counter with a note. You were right. I am nothing special. I hope Derek makes you happy. Saturday morning, I picked up Sarah. She wore a blue dress that made her eyes look like the ocean. And when she smiled at me, I felt something I'd never felt with Amanda. Peace. Are you nervous? She asked as we drove toward Paradise Valley. Terrified, I admitted, but also excited. Amanda's going to lose her mind. Good. Maybe she'll finally show everyone who she really is. Sarah laughed. My family's going to be shocked. Some of them, but I bet some of them have been waiting for this. We pulled into the driveway at exactly 2 p.m. Through the window, I could see Amanda holding court in the living room, probably telling everyone about her successful lawyer boyfriend and her bright future. She had no idea her past was about to catch up with her. Ready? Sarah asked, taking my hand. Ready. Amanda saw us through the window before we reached the front door. Her face went through several expressions: confusion, disbelief, then pure rage. By the time Linda opened the door, Amanda was already pushing past relatives to get to us. What is this? She demanded, looking between Sarah and me. What are you doing here? Hello, Amanda, I said calmly. Sarah invited me. Invited you? You're my boyfriend. Actually, I'm not. I kept my voice steady as the entire party turned to watch. Check your kitchen counter. Amanda's face went white. She pulled out her phone, probably to call someone back at the apartment. You left me for my cousin, she said loud enough for everyone to hear. You cheated on me with my own family. I never cheated on anyone, I said, unlike some people. Michael stepped forward. What's going on here? Amanda's been having an affair with Derek Wilson for months, Sarah said clearly. She told Ryan he was nothing special, so he left. That's not. Amanda started. Derek's married, isn't he? Linda interrupted, her voice sharp. The room fell silent. Amanda looked around at her family, realizing she'd lost control of the narrative. His divorce will be final soon, she said defensively. So you've been seeing a married man, said Sarah's father, Uncle Robert, while dating Ryan. It's not like that. It's exactly like that, Sarah said. And this isn't the first time. Remember Mark? Remember James from college? Amanda's eyes darted around the room, looking for support that wasn't coming. Her carefully constructed image was crumbling in real time. At least Derek has a future, she said desperately. At least he's not just some electrician. The contempt in her voice hung in the air. I saw several family members exchange glances. Ryan's a good man, said Sarah's mother quietly. He's always been respectful and kind. He fixed our garage opener last summer, added Uncle Robert. Wouldn't take payment. He's helped half the family with electrical problems, said Linda, looking at her daughter with obvious disappointment. Amanda realized she was trapped. Her family was seeing her clearly for the first time. Within 6 months, the whole story came out. Derek's wife found the text messages, and Amanda became a cautionary tale in their social circle. Derek lost his partnership at the law firm and half his assets in the divorce. Amanda lost her job when the scandal reached her workplace. Apparently, having an affair with a married client violated company policy. She moved back in with her parents and spent months trying to rebuild her reputation. But Phoenix isn't that big a city, and people talk. Amanda learned what it felt like to be nothing special when her friends dropped her one by one. Sarah and I took our time. We dated properly, meeting each other's friends, building something real. A year later, I proposed at the same cafe where she'd first told me I deserved better. She said yes before I finished asking. We married 2 years after that reunion. Linda cried at our wedding. Happy tears, she assured us. Michael walked Sarah down the aisle and told me I was the son-in-law he'd always hoped for. Even Amanda came, bringing a new boyfriend she'd met online. She was polite but quiet, finally understanding that some bridges can't be rebuilt. Kevin was my best man. In his speech, he said, "Sometimes the best thing that can happen to a man is losing something he thought he wanted so he can find what he actually needed." Sarah teaches 2nd grade now. I opened my own electrical contracting business. We have a house in Gilbert with a workshop in the garage and plans for children someday. Amanda was right about one thing. I was nothing special in her life. But she was wrong about what that meant. It didn't make me worthless. It made me free to find someone who saw my worth. Sometimes the best revenge is just being happy,